All right, we have gotten the game started. Now I need to go to my YouTube channel and basically announce it, and we'll get started on the review. There we go. So my move, under. Play more traditional. Definitely gonna just play more traditional this time. Usually I would pincer on these games, but I am gonna play a little bit more traditional this time. Okay, that's good. Let's play the approach. I think a lot of people mess up on this move, or like they don't quite know how to deal with this. Yep, that's the right way. This is the right sequence. Definitely the right sequence. Very, very even start. Highly even start. That, I think I'm just going to do this. I do think there is a bit of influence play here. I can also squeeze here afterwards. I'm going to just tie this. Get some territory on my own. Just kind of see where this goes. Okay, that's fine. I don't think this invasion is actually a good invasion, but we'll try this anyways. I'm just going to leap here. There's not much potential for me to make over here. I'm just going to go ahead and take this territory. It's generally a bad move. You don't really want to do that. This isn't that big. I still have this move. So that's not really that big. I'm going to go ahead and invade here. This is always a decent move at this point. Not sure really what to think about that move. That's wrong. You can't. You shouldn't do that. Letting me have the. Let me do this. Letting me do this is bad. I'm obviously going to connect up here. This move is a surprisingly hard one to deal with. When I Haned, he probably should have just played D11. Yeah, this is definitely pretty damaging for him. Now I've actually solidified this territory for myself, which was his potential territory, and he's not going to be able to get too many points in the middle. And plus, there's always like problems here as well. Just for reference, this stone is sacrificable. So poking in here, I would probably just give up this stone. At this point, I'm going to fly up here and destroy and get rid of like what chances he has for territory here. I will allow him to I'll allow him to try to attack this group to see if he can kill it, which I don't think he can, but we'll see. There's not much. The thing is, like, there's really not that much territory in here in the first place. So I can just fall back like this. And there is a lot that you can be giving up to actually get that territory once again. Like, I'm going to do this. If he clamps this way, I can actually come in here and get his territory this way. So he does this, he has to repair again. If I were black, I would probably just take in the stone, because I think the stone's actually bigger than what he can get here. But he actually has to connect. Well, he doesn't have to right now, but if he doesn't, there's a clamp move there. So he connects. So the thing is, like, I basically get all the Sentes here again. I'm basically going to get all the Sentes here again. And this is like a huge, huge boon for me on the end game. Because like this is just worth a ton of points. On the end game. I'm basically trying to get every one of these because they are like it is a really these are really big plays. No, you definitely wouldn't do that because that doesn't really solve anything, and it's Sente for me anyways. Like just by these little plays, I'm probably up 20, 30 points now. It was pretty even until I did this invasion, and then it became not so even. That's not a good response to this because this is I can always just do this. Like you have to respond to this one over here. Just gonna Hane the bottom, and now like this group kind of sort of has a problem because you don't really have two eyes. My group doesn't either, to be fair, but I don't think I'm in any real danger here. And then connect the bottom. You got to stop blocking like that. That's no good. I mean, that's just so many points for me. And you still don't really have eye shapes. This is like actually where he really gets into danger. I mean, I'll let him live. My mission's already accomplished. My mission is already accomplished. If he gets Gote, if he lives in Gote, then I've already accomplished like pretty much all my entire mission here. If he plays this, I get to play this. And if he doesn't actually answer me, it's Ko for the life of his group. So he has to actually answer here. So I get Sente on this. I get Sente on this, which is really, really huge. And I've also used this to make this territory. So I'm just gonna play here. He might actually have to answer this by playing here. I mean, I don't think he actually has to. I don't think these points are really that big, but If he goes this way, I can just go up this way. So I can actually like just Atari this way, so it's not that big of a deal. He could go here. If he does this, I'll probably just do this or do this. Yeah, he's trying to make that territory. It's not going to. It's very little territory actually. It's actually quite very little territory. Ends up being Sente for me. I'm gonna connect this because this is pretty big. You see, like he did live, but he actually ended up giving me all the Sente moves around here. He could play B11 and capture. It. I mean, he could capture this, but this isn't really like this is only a couple of points, and I've already destroyed his bottom territory, and also like more than just destroying his bottom territory, like I've made his territory my territory, so it's a huge win for me on that front. You have to remember like like capturing a couple of stones sometimes really isn't worth all that much. He like sure he can get like 2 or 3 points down here, but this would have actually been his territory, and now like I've made like 15, 16 points out of it, and like I've destroyed all his territory. So it's really about a lot of the trade-offs. This invasion was immensely successful for me. And the thing is, like, you can see that, I'm solidly ahead, but I'm ahead by a lot of points right now. I'm actually ahead by quite a lot of points right now. Mainly because of, like, the advantage, like, some because of the advantages I actually got in the end game. That much is true, but also just because, like, just little advantages I took advantage, like, little things I did everywhere to take advantage. I think a lot of people think like that the point of Go is to actually like kill all your opponent's stones. That's not actually the point of Go. You just need to have more points in the end. That's really all there is to it. And I think like people need to practice the concept that it doesn't really matter how many points you win by as long as you win. So like as you grow higher and higher in the ranks, as you grow higher and higher in the ranks, it really becomes a game of like very like minute differences. Like people in the higher ranks will resign if they know they're down by 5 points because like they know their opponent isn't going to make like really stupid mistakes to like give up that advantage. How do you estimate how much territory is under your control? That's just kind of like you can count. You can always just count 1, 2, 3, 4. Like you can just count like each space is worth 1 point. Each stone that you have is worth 2 points. Um, Also, like like just how much have your stones surrounded? Like how many spaces your stones have surrounded versus how many stones his stones have actually surrounded. Right now, I'm probably up like 40, 40. Like, I would say I'm up by around 40 points. Maybe more. I probably actually underestimated my margin of victory. But I would say 40 points, maybe more at this point. And there weren't, and realistically, like, there weren't any real big fights this game. It's just kind of like controlling, it's just playing better, just playing more efficiently. It really is just playing more efficiently. And that's essentially how I win a lot of these games. Sometimes I do like do end game things, but a lot of times I don't. I mean, like, the game was basically decided once this invasion actually happened, and he gave up this side. That's when the game was actually decided. Which rule set? It doesn't matter. The rules might differ in counting by a point or two, but realistically, which rule set you play by is they're all pretty similar. It's really not going to matter all that much. I don't think I've ever read in. I don't think I've really ever read into a game which like the rule set actually mattered. I don't think I've ever read into a game where the rule set actually mattered. So it's not that's not really something you should be concerned about. Chinese and Japanese rules for points wise, they're very very similar.
Pass. Remove the dead stones.
I'm up by like 60. Okay, I miscounted my margin of victory. I tend to do that a lot actually.
You have won.
So if you actually review this game, the beginning was actually pretty good for him because like I didn't really take any big advantages beginning in this game. I think I think this is necessary. I do believe this is necessary because white's always going to respond, and that just gives black more influence over here. Plus it flattens white a little bit. So the actual Joseki is probably doing this. I don't know if you would actually do this. It depends on the situation, but I think like playing Q14 is actually necessary, and forcing white to play R13. So he didn't do that move, which isn't too bad. I just took the chance to do this. This broadens out my shape and it flattens him out a little bit. Plus, he does actually have to respond, Hane, double Hane, and then just. I don't think I like. I think I could have just done this or something. This isn't a very good response. I think it's too slow, and there's like not that many points down here. I think black playing this, I think that would probably be the optimal move right now for black. Um, basically R9 denies me points over here and gets you a nice setup here as well. So I think R9 is actually the best move there. Does this. I'm going to go ahead and do this. You can see the points are pretty similar right now. That's fine. That secures the corner. That invasion, as I played it, I said it's probably not a good one. Going underneath. This, I don't actually know how to deal with this, though. Like, you might want to do something like this and try to attack this stone. I'm not exactly sure. I would probably have done the same thing here. Just taking this side, but this might have been like the better move, honestly. Something like this might be the better move to threaten this stone, because black's in a pretty strong position. So threatening white is actually probably the best thing to do. So that happens. He does that. I come out. I'm going to want to get this territory. So you can see like right now the game's still very, very close. That's generally a bad move because that removes a lot of other possibilities. And it was possible that you could possibly get like S8, but once I block, the S8 move is no longer there. Plus, like there's other things that you could possibly do. So while it's not very damaging, I generally would actually save this until later. It's not too bad though. Jumps out, I'm gonna jump out. Does that, force, jumps up. That jump up is not necessary because if you jump up, white also always has this move. If you do this, white can kind of like break in this way in the future. So the jump up isn't really necessary. Like if you don't jump up and white does this, if you don't jump up, let's say, and then white does this, you can just take the stone and there's really not much to it. So I don't think the jump up is necessary. I don't think it's worth very many points. I'm going to invade here. I actually think instead of this jump up, you should just play something like this or possibly something like this. So I'm going to go ahead and invade here. I don't actually know how to deal with this invasion. You could just play this and let me get the bottom and get some of the top influence, I guess. You could also play here and opt to fight, although this fight, I don't know if this really favors black all that much. I don't really know how this works out. There's a lot. It depends on how each of the players actually plays. So you could opt to fight. Doing this, I mean, letting me Hane, that's definitely a bad move. If you're gonna, once someone plays C11, you definitely have to play D10. If you let, because this completely cuts you in two. Like letting me do this. Yeah, I don't really. It probably does matter more on 9x9. It does matter a lot more on 9x9. I don't really play 9x9, so the rule set never really has mattered to me. So I like letting me do this is definitely very bad because it cuts you in two, and neither of your groups is really strong. You want to keep your groups together in this case. So when I do this, the correct response is always to block. If I do this, that's fine. Like you still have you do let me get the bottom territory, but you do have influence up here, and then you can play forcing moves on this group because this group is still really weak, and then like this is the time. This is honestly the time you would play moves like this, and force me to like connect. Like that's how you actually build the center territory. Like that's actually how you build the center territory. Attacking this group while building the center territory. Like that's how you actually build the center territory. Like if you actually just try to do like things like this and not get the Sente, I'm gonna come up this way and I'm gonna try to destroy your center territory. You have to like try to get the Sente, and that's like a really good move to do it. Now it's not that clean, but you know, you kind of get it. You try to force this group, and then that's how you actually build your center territory. So that's always an option. Giving me the bottom points, building up this influence, and then using other like Sente moves to build up your center territory. So that's definitely one option, but this is definitely the wrong move because it lets me cut you in two. And then of course, you know, like that's kind of pointless because you're not really threatening that cut. And then just like letting me do that is obviously bad because remember, like this was supposed to be your territory, now it's mine. So that's a big swap of points. That's when This is actually when white seriously pulled ahead for the first time after this change. Like in an even game of like in an even 9Q game, this might not be unpull, like you can pull this back. In a professional game, like this would be like unwinnable at this point because like professionals generally play really, really tight. It's very hard in a professional game to swing back 13 points at this point. So he's doing that now, but the problem with doing that now is like your center territory has actually been greatly diminished. So I'm actually going to jump out. I don't want him to threaten me. He does that. Now this particular jump isn't all that useful because now you can't threaten me and your group here is not all that strong. So I just flew in here to destroy any chance of like more center territory here. That's, I mean, like, I feel like I could have done this too. I was kind of afraid of this though. So that's why I didn't do that. I probably should have I could have definitely done that. Because there's not enough liberties here for him to actually fight me right now. So I could have definitely done that. And also like this would have worked as well because he can't really do anything. Well, this I think would have worked as well. Maybe not. He can actually break you right there. So I don't know. I just took the safe route. That's definitely not like if you're gonna play, you definitely have to Hane this because like doing this, like you still allow me like to do this or to do this or something or possibly even do this. Although this would be problematic because later on because of this. So that's definitely not the play. You definitely want to Hane this. You 100% want to Hane this because there's really, even if I double Hane this, like you still get, even if I Hane you on this, you still get this particular territory. So you definitely like, if you're going to play, you have to Hane. So I'm going to do that first. So like if I was black, I probably would have just, I honestly would have just taken this. Because like white's not going to do that. Because that's still a pretty big problem for white right now. That's going to be problematic. So I would have to do this and then like, do this. Like black's going to get way more territory this way. Why than like trying to protect the center. So essentially you let me have like an advantage here. And then I'm going to start taking advantages here as well. These are all like just little advantages that I'm going to take to increase my lead. I guess like you do have to fix this, but I guess this isn't big enough right now. You would black might do something like this or take this stone or try to threaten this group. But a lot of people will actually repair that right now. I'm going to Hane this. That's awful. If you're going to answer me, you do this. I would probably do this, and then that was kind of what I was aiming for. Blocking and then like doing this is bad because that obviously leaves me the option to play the ko for this. And even if you do this, I can just go under and do this, and it would still deprive you a lot of points. So like that's very, very bad. I'm going to go ahead and do this because you do have to answer. If I was black, I would have either played G4 or F2. You can't answer this way because this is obviously Sente. You do this. I'm going to Hane down here, go up here. That's also a really bad block. Like you would do this. I would actually have to connect this. And then like there's plenty of ways that you can actually live this. It's actually quite hard to kill this for white because white's not all that strong himself here. But like this is just giving me like free points. I think this black is actually dead here. I think I just messed up. I'm pretty sure black's actually dead here. So if I do this, I think black's pretty much dead. There is a fight in here, but I'm pretty sure I win the Liberties battle. I'm like 100% sure if I do this, black's just dead. But, I mean, I basically just wanted to make this territory at this point. And I think black is, I mean, like, I think there's several instances here where I could have killed black pretty easily. But at the same time, like, I know, like, I didn't really need to kill black because as long as I, like, got this territory, like, I'm so far ahead that I don't need to risk trying to kill him and losing this group. So I just go ahead and do that. He does that. This doesn't make sense. If you're going to do this, you're definitely going to do this. That gives you a lot more potential for territory because, like, if I take another Sente here, like, I probably would just connect this. You can actually just come up here and you get, like, this territory at least. So that's the wrong way to repair that. Let's do this. Hane. Do this. Connect. I connect this. So here, yes, that does repair that, but here you would definitely take this Ko right now. That's just a much, much better move. This is like way too passive. So he basically let me get all the closing moves, and him letting me get all the closing moves plus closing this out makes the advantage basically go from like plus 20 to plus 60. So you can see how much the end game actually matters. Like, you can see how much the end game matters, and that's as far as I'm going to review this game. The rest of it's just like really small closing moves, and it doesn't really matter all that much. But generally, like, the mess up in the invasion here was where the game kind of like pulled apart, and then like taking a lot of disadvantages here, and also like the way I actually attacked this group, forcing him to only get 2 eyes, and then taking that advantage to make this territory, and that's how you kind of get center territory as well. Really push the advantage to 60. So that's where this game is right now, and I'm gonna play another game. So I'm gonna wait 10 minutes to see if anyone accepts this game. If no one does, I will probably go. But if someone accepts it, we'll play another game. Not a 6 to 12k. Generally, like for the rules to matter, the smaller the board, the more likely the rules will actually matter because there's less circumstances, and it's much more likely that the game will actually end. The game will actually be decided by 1 or 2 points on a smaller board. So yeah, I mean, that's definitely true. So yes, if you want to play me 6 to 12k, if you want to play me in a game, just accept my challenge. I kind of like play by my parameters because like a lot of people challenge me, they like accidentally or something do a ranked game, and I don't actually play teaching games for rank because A, I'm not concentrating fully on just like playing the best game. I'm concentrating on like explaining as well. And B, like I pretty much win every single game, so I don't want to boost up my rank that way. So I'll wait for about 10 minutes. If no one accepts, I will probably just go do something else, run some errands. But if someone wants to play against me, go ahead and accept my challenge, and we will have another game. I'll just wait. I can wait. Just a couple more minutes. Just a couple more minutes.
Game started.
All right, there we go. I think I do have AI review on my account. I think someone bought it for me, or they just gave it to me for free because I do like I'm promoting OGS with teaching stuff. I'm gonna play the Tengen. I don't recommend people do this because the Tengen, while it does actually play influence, it's about 1.5 points less efficient than playing the corners at the beginning. Technically, if I was like, if you play the Tengen, you should probably pincer. It's a bad move. I'm gonna cut. This cut is really, really crucial. You need to protect that cut. Like if you do this, I'm going to immediately counter. And this is a pretty big loss for black. So flatten over. And then I'm going to do this. So now I'm building up a pretty big moyo. Basically, I'm building up a big moyo that he essentially has to invade sooner or later. That's not a good invasion point, though. I guess it's okay. I'm going to play this just to make sure this is safe. That's kind of strange. I'm going to do that. Not really sure about like his invasion strategy. Of course, I'm not really that. I can deal with these invasions, but I'm not like excessively good at dealing with these invasions either. I'm basically just trying to claw as much territory as possible here. I'm okay with getting all of this side. Like, trying to get like the massive territory is probably probably too greedy. I'm gonna pincer over here. I would probably do better just by. I mean, I think I'm gonna separate his two groups and see what I can get. Like I said, I don't really play this Moyo style all that much anymore. Like when I was younger, I used to play it a lot because I used to be obsessed with like getting giant globs of territory, like a giant square shape of territory. Right now, like I've kind of gotten over that. So the thing is, like I've kind of like defaulted to like how much territory can I actually get if he invades. And sometimes the answer is not a lot. Sometimes the answer is a lot. It really depends on the overall situation. I'm more than happy to just take this territory. Even if he lives here and I end up getting this territory, like all of this territory, it's a huge win for me. Like I've already solidified this many points, right? I've already solidified so many points here, and I've more or less solidified like these points here. So that's already a lot of territory. And his invasion was not that successful overall. I should probably solidify that, but I'm actually going to invade the corner here. I actually might, like if he actually played S4, that puts this group in danger, but he has a lot of cutting points. I think I would have probably played S4. Because I think you can kill this invasion like that. That didn't make any sense. That's pretty big. I'm just going to play that. It's Sente anyways. So I'm actually going to play this because I think that pretty much kills these three stones. There is a problem here too, though. I'm kind of concerned about that. I don't. I think I have to block this. But that does put me in quite a bit of danger, though. I was thinking about just retreating, but I don't think I can do that. I think I have to do this. Play this way. I don't like it, but I want to solidify this territory. He has a lot of influence here. I think playing here would have actually been the best move. Okay, what do I do with this now? I think like playing over here is probably the best. I've already got a lot of territory solidified down here. Now it's like really his job. Do I connect that? I'm not sure. I think I should. But this is very, very risky for me. Okay, he didn't play the right move here. He should. I would have definitely played L10. I would have definitely played L10. And then cut to see what they do. This is a little late now. Always Atari first here. He has to connect. You can have that stone. That stone's not worth that much. If he cuts here now, I'm just going to play M14. The purpose of this is like he's given up so much territory here that in this particular instance, he's probably not going to be able to. He is most likely not going to be able to get enough territory. He's most likely not going to be able to get enough territory down here to win this game because he's given up so much down here. So all I really have to do is make sure this group doesn't die, which realistically is not that hard. And that's just not going to work because I have this. I guess I'll let him have the bottom if he lets me have those stones. I don't think there's really any way he can kill me at this point. That is going to die, but it's a Sente way for me to basically fix a lot of things here. And if I do this, I'm alive, so that's more or less game. He doesn't have enough territory anywhere to counter the stuff that I actually have, and he's giving up a lot more territory right now. So it's just like more efficient use of my Moyo. But no, the game wasn't over after I got this territory. The game was still pretty much on because he could have actually given me a lot of trouble with like this group here, which he definitely should have done based on the game state. This is not alive yet, so if I play a7, it's dead. So that's a big problem for him. See, like with this, I'm just going to play a7. I don't have to answer that. I think it's pretty much dead. I am just going to fortify this. I mean, you have to realize that this group is dead, and once you realize the group is dead, you have to like not fill in stones, because every stone you fill in is giving your opponent extra points if he doesn't answer. And in close game, and honestly, in close, he doesn't have to do that. He should definitely play T16. But and in close games, this stuff does actually matter. You know, like in close games, like if the game's different by 5 points or less, and you make a move like that, that's going to cost you the game. Why is that string of black in B column dead? This, he doesn't have two eyes. There's no way he has two eyes. He should have cut there. If he actually cut, I would have just gone on the bottom side. There's no two eyes here. There's no way he can make two eyes. If he plays a4, I'm going to play a6. So he doesn't have two eyes. I'm going to do this first because he has to answer. He like has no option. He has to answer, and then I'm gonna do this. So that was a really bad play by him because he only got 2 points here, and he's gonna lose like 10 plus here. So you have to take into account of like what's bigger and what's not, and that was just a really bad play by him. That's just a really bad play by him. I think there's something wrong I'm doing here actually. No. I mean, obviously you connect that. That's just a mistake. The thing is, there is actually a pretty big difference. Like once you jump from the DDQs to the SDKs, like DDKs make a lot more mistakes like this um, than SDKs. Like SDKs will actually fix problems like this. They realize that like, hey, that could actually be dead if I don't do anything. This is dead, obviously. I, 'Cause, 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 'C I mean, this is an obvious target here. I don't know why you would do that. I mean, that just comes down to game recognition.
You have won.
All right, let's go back and review this game a little bit. Um, so this is pretty basic. So like I said, playing the Tengen is generally not a good idea for starters. Most new players don't know how to use this stone anyways, and I don't do a really good job of it. That's perfectly fine. Basic Joseki, that's a huge mistake. Like this cut is very, very hard to. This cut you need to actually fix, especially since I have the Tengen like stone here. Like this Tengen stone does exert some influence on this, so you definitely have to connect this. Obviously, I'm going to cut. And then I'm going to come over here. You can see like I'm trading a lot of Moyo formation for relatively few points down here. And that's why I'm getting an advantage. So I'm going to do this. He's going to do that. I'm going to do this. So like you can see like my Moyo is already formed a lot better than his. And the Tengen move does actually come in use here because like it basically makes my it makes my territory just look a lot bigger. So he has to invade. That's not a good invasion. That's probably a bad move, but I was protecting the side. I don't really know if that move makes sense or not. Honestly, I probably should have just done this. I think that was probably like K14 is probably the right move here. But I don't really deal with these kind of invasions all that much. I was just trying to get the bottom territory, but once again, this is probably the right move. So I was trying to get the bottom territory. That's just a weird thing. I think I probably should have just tried to separate him, but I didn't want him like getting something like this. So I pincered. Then I separated his groups so I can attack both of them at once. Okay, so I'm just going like that's okay. But the problem with black doing this is that now he's separate into like two distinct groups, and he can't give up either one of them because they're both pretty big. So here I probably should have just done this. Because he's basically sacrificed these stones already. And if I do this, like these stones are kind of weak as well. So instead of like being aggressive and doing this, I think being more passive and playing J10 is the better idea. That I'm gonna curl out. Like with something like this, I don't think I really want to do that at this point. So I'm just gonna like, for me, I just wanted the points. I don't think I think just doing this right now is fine. That would be Sente fixing this, and then he can go somewhere else because the Sente is like really, really big right now. So that kind of answer is not that great. I Hani on the outside. Then I'm going to invade the corner. Like by doing this, I've basically forced him into like a really crappy shape here, and it's still not that great. And I get Sente, so I get the corner invasion here. So with this, I think I would just play this. I think this is dead. There's probably some kind of problems here. I'm not really sure because like it's really hard to pin. Yeah, there is problems here. Never mind. That doesn't work. So he did actually play that right. But if you have a lot of outer cover, like if you play S4, it's actually this group's actually dead. But in this case, it doesn't really work. So I do this. This is obviously doesn't really make any sense. Don't do that. Extend out, block, and then I come here just to kind of solidify this. Now, a better move would definitely be like this. I should have definitely done that to get rid of any problems. I do this, he does that. I kind of have to do this. He does this. So if I was black at this point, I'm way down, I would just go ahead and do this. Just to see what white actually does. It is dangerous for black, obviously, because this group here is really bad. I as white would definitely do this. Because this is always... yeah, like I as white would definitely do that. This group isn't completely safe. You have this to worry about. So, but as black, I would definitely want to fight right now. because like if I don't, I'm going to lose anyways. So that's what I would actually do as black. So I connect. He does this. He lets me repair this for free, because if he does this now, then I can just go this way. So that's not a good move. He does that. I can do that. Now, some of you are probably saying like, what if he does that? Wouldn't that be a problem? No, you just do this. That's perfectly fine. You give him the stone. It's not worth very much. You still get the bottom territory. So it's not really a problem. I basically jumped down. That's a bad move right now because obviously that doesn't really work. And the thing is, like, a lot of lower rank players like want to avoid Ataris, but the thing is, like, you can just counter Atari, and he doesn't really gain all that much. He takes the stone. I'm going to do this and just improve my shape. Because he doesn't really gain much down here. This is already his territory, so at most he gets like 6-7 points up here. I go here. So, like, usually I wouldn't do moves like this, but I'm just basically trying to settle my group here. So I think this is perfectly fine. I invade here. This invasion's hard to deal with. It really is. But that's not the right move. You either try to do something like this, which wouldn't be all that great, or maybe you just let it go and you do this in this case. But that's definitely not the right move. I go up here. He does this. Yeah, that's actually a really hard move for him to answer. Because if he does this, fine. I will give him this. I will actually give him some of this bottom territory in exchange for this, because that's really big. But that might have actually been his best option right now, actually, because he doesn't really have that many good options. Doing this, yes, you're saving these stones, obviously, but you're basically giving up like whatever territory you have left. So that doesn't really make too much sense. This is more of me just tightening his liberties here. That's not really like I was trying to kill him, because I wasn't going to be able to kill him. This is really bad, obviously. So when I did this, he definitely should have played c4 and solidified this. This is very big, but if you don't play but c4 gets you the corner. And if you don't play c4, you're going to give me a lot of this territory. So this c4 is going to be bigger than g3. So he basically gives me this territory. I'm going to go ahead and do this. And of course, like, that's already dead. I do this. This is all dead now. So that essentially ends the game. The rest of it's not really all that relevant. So particularly, like, this game, like, when you do, like, when you play something like this, the connection is very, very important. Because if he actually cuts, you don't really have a good answer. So that's where he started messing up. And of course, like, these invasions just really aren't that great. You let me basically like get a lot of territory. So I don't really know what I would actually do to invade this. Because you already let me have a pretty big wall over here. I might just do something like if I was black, I might just do something like this just to try to reduce the amount of territory that white has, or focus in on one side and maybe try to do this kind of invasion. If he does this, though, I would definitely attack like this, and he's going to have a hard time in here. He probably would live, but he's going to have a hard time in here. Because if I'm white, he invades. I'm not trying to kill him. I'm just trying to get as much territory as I can, while forcing him to live with 2 eyes, because he doesn't have all that much territory down here either. You can invade, like, it's much easier for white to invade here than black to invade down here. So that's today's learning thing. Knowing when to invade. I think knowing when to invade is like, a lot of that actually is taking into the state of the game and like how strong you are at certain points in the game. Like, if you're already ahead, you generally don't need to invade. You essentially just need to play bigger moves and win the game. If you're behind, sometimes you do need to invade. And like, it's also like how easy it is to invade. Like, let me just give you an example. Like, if you have, like, you know, let's say you have 2 stones like here, usually like 3 space, like here and like here, right? So like an invasion here would be easy to play like this, because essentially, like, it doesn't matter which way he pincers, you have a 2 space jump. If you can get a 2-space jump on the third line, that's usually like a good invasion. But like if he has like, you know, a stone here, you probably don't want to invade here because you don't really have any jumps and he can just, you know, pincer you. So it really depends a lot on the situation, how strong your influence is on the outside. You get better at it as you move up the ranks, and a lot of it just comes through, and a lot of that just comes through experience. So that's going to be the review for today. Like and subscribe, hit that bell notifications button, and I will see you guys later.